There's a script writer, there's an actor, and there's us, the audience. And if we, the audience, don't wake up and say, hapa kuna movie tunachezewa, we shall keep on saying that, oh, we are going to impeach Ruto. Oh, we are going to do what? There's nothing you're doing if you cannot even concentrate on one battlefront and win. That's what we need to focus on. If Rigiji and William Ruto want to impeach each other, remove each other's clothes, that's their business. They met, they fell in love, they formed a government, they took power. Why is that any of our business? If they feel they want to burn each other down, let them. But let us not be there saying, Anga, who is our person? Anga, we are looking at the scenario. What will be the outcome? Boss, people are playing chess. We cannot afford to be the pawns. With all the information we have and all the brightness we have in our heads, I have said it before, a tapeworm can never kill a cow when it is outside the cow. It needs to get inside the cow, populate itself so that it kills the cow. Can we start thinking, if these people are infiltrating us, how can we infiltrate them? You go to war using the rules of war. Otherwise, PP to me, I don't know. But those are my 2 cents. I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but that's just how I'm viewing it. We are being played. We are falling for it every time. And we seem to be chasing our tails instead of just deciding what we want to do.
Haya, na leo meamka hii Monday, people are very fire.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Hey, you guys give me a reason to wake up every weekday to come and host Home Run with Pipi. I hope you're doing amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, and of course, so much facts. Everybody is speaking here and I'm feeling, oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to move the mic on again. And we have not heard from the ladies. So let me go to Wanjira. How are you doing, Wanjira?
Yes, I'm okay, Pipi. Just wait for a minute, pass it over to one person and then I'll be back.
All right. Andrew All says Mombasa residents asked when in Moi International Airport will resume international flights. The guy did not answer. With an influx of tourists, we need Moi International Airport to relieve JKIA of traffic. With that, we will have equity in development and business between Mombasa and Nairobi. That is from Andrew All. After we all started to worry where he was after 25th June, he appeared out of nowhere and told us was that the home of his mentor. We didn't flag that. We were deflected to abduction and gunned down Shujaz. Too much comments. Let me read some of the comments. The doctor will give them flying colors given the current state of anarchy on Kenya. They will have the best mental state ever seen to man. That is Kumbukeni anasema. I think that is when somebody was saying these guys are mad. Mungadi has shared barriers to change and is saying habit, fear of unknown, laws of power and control, organizational structure, rigidity, suspicion, misinformation, apathy, closed communication, old power, loyalty to present system, lack of conviction. He's also saying it is called civil engineering of public administration, where social work, medicine, engineering, psychology, logistics, sociology, law, political science, management, economy, anthropology, and criminology. Public administration is multidisciplinary. That's what he's saying. And then, let me see, right, PP, niwakilishe mashinani. No, that was earlier on. Big Boss anasema kwamba kuongea tutaongea sana. Kauli ni moja, mpaka tutafute dawa ya kudeal na hawa majamaa mara moja. Kama kuongea tu washazoea na kwao lawama hizo sio mzigo. Tunalia, tunalalama na yao yanaenda tu fresh. Wanatuona tu mapoyoyo Pipi. Nimepotea kidogo, nilimpoteza mlezi wangu, my grandma, ila nitarudi. Pole sana kwa msiba Big Boss. Pipita, hata tukisubiri 2027 hatuna ujanja kabisa wa kubadilisha kitu sisi. Hatuchagui hawa kenge, wanajua vile wanaekana wao wenyewe. Ila siku moja Mungu atawakujia wenyewe, japo tutakuwa tumeteseka tosha. So write also your comments hapo hivi kwenye comment section. If you're not able to speak, I'll try to read as much as possible. We can sing the same song to each individual or dance the same tune. The order of the day is corrupt tribalism, sodomized killing, poor education. Order of the day. Never forget that we face the same problem as a country, not as an individual. The country should come first. Let's protect our country. That is Serem Kipkemboi. Simon anasema time hama president wengine hakuja kuwa na hizi abductions. Were you alive? Ama ulikuja juzi? Simon, shika hii kiboko. Naona ni kama hapa kwa hii class watu wameanza kupoteza tabia. Nini yeye unasema wewe? Anyway. So Simon anasema mimi nimeendea birth certificate ya mtoto nikalipishwa thao, na hizi vitu tumekuwa tukichukua na 150, leave alone transportation ya kwenda mpaka Huduma Center. Oh yes. And of course Kasmuel Makaure is moving around with the politicians hapa pale, and you know, guys are mad. But somebody has asked us, who appointed Kasmuel, our leader? Who? I do not have an answer. Do you have an answer, Wanjira?
Yo, what's up? Baby, let's go! You're listening to Home Run with PP. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I really miss that timing. I really miss it. But 4 to 9 p.m. is the time these days. Wanjira?
Yeah. Hi, PP. How are you?
I am good.
Yeah. So I had a lot to say, but I think I'm just going to start with the first question you asked. Who appointed Kasmuel Makaure, our leader? Now, people, you know that ever since we vacated the ground, we vacated the streets, the movement went back to the grassroots. And so people started mobilizing in social justice centers, in vikao, in people's assemblies. And all of those people's assemblies, social justice centers and vikaos came together and amalgamated into one, what now they're calling the National Coordination Committee for People's Assemblies. The National Coordination Committee being the national, the umbrella body covering all the social justices that, that had all of these people mobilizing to reject the finance bill, and, just passionate young people, that are very centered in making sure that there's a change in this country, people that are willing to go out of their way to do out of the ordinary. I don't know whether you've seen, for example, murals that have been drawn of Bob Njagi, Free Kenya, the Communist Party of Kenya, Okiya Mtata's party. All of those parties and the social justice centers are constituent bodies of the National Coordination Committee of the People's Assembly. Now, the NCCPA has just literally what everybody would have, a secretariat, the leadership, a membership like that. And this is where the point really comes in, which is that I think Buka Omole, being the deputy of the NCCPA, and then the spokesperson for the NCCPA now is Kasmuel Makaure. That is the point I want you to take home, PP. That people are not just mad at Kasmuel because we had all of these aspirations and we thought he would be mkombozi wetu. That is not why. It is because if I am a member of a social justice center and I have come under the leadership of the NCCPA, and this NCCPA through its leadership has chosen Kasmuel as the mouthpiece of the NCCPA, so he essentially speaks for all of the social justice centers, all of the people's assemblies, all of the constituent political parties that are members of the NCCPA. He essentially speaks for me. And the voice of the constituent parties of the NCCPA is, number one, there is nothing that Rigathi Gachagua is guilty of that Ruto is not 100 times guiltier of, right? So if Rigathi Gachagua is being sent home, the person to go home first is William Ruto, and then we shall get Rigathi Gachagua as a bonus, right? Now, get me very correctly, because I am also an advocate and I have to say this. I am not saying this in the layman way, wine the water. We're saying that there's nothing Rigathi is guilty of that William is not guilty of. So if there is number one to be the number one person to be impeached should be William Ruto and then Rigathi Gachagua. Anything other than that is hypocrisy. Anything other than that is what is it? The pot calling the kettle black. It is I don't even know what to call it. I need someone to look up a stronger word for hypocrisy, because that is what it is. And yes, the constitution allows for a dichotomy where, both are separate entities, that you can impeach the deputy without impeaching the president. I understand that. But we're saying that if you're impeaching Rigathi, the person you should be impeaching first, ultimately, because the buck stops with him, is William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto. That is what the people are saying. So when Kasmuel takes a stand, number one, fails to condemn the vicious attack on Morara Kebaso. That is the first failing, because even on a humanitarian level, he could have said that was not okay what happened to Morara, right? So he takes a stand, does not condemn what happens to Morara, and then number two says Rigathi Gachagua must go, whereas the body, the voice of the constituent members of the NCCPA who you speak for have said William Ruto must go first before Rigathi Gachagua. That is how he failed the people. I think there's people that are mad because they want to be mad, but most of us that have been working with people's assemblies and social justice centers, most of us that are meeting every Monday under the umbrella of the NCCPA, and we're saying, Kasmuel, just everything about the way you conduct yourself seems wrong. You cannot be seen on pictures with Osoro, sijui you're with Millie Odhiambo, sijui you're with today you're with Raila Odinga, you're with Sonko. It looks bad on us because that perception is bad for the people that are fighting these very people. That is why people are mad at Kasmuel. We did not appoint him leader. He speaks for those of us that are in the NCCPA. That is why we're angry. So it cannot just be that, the pictures and the optics are not good. Kasmuel, we don't care about that. What he does in his personal life is his own business, and we cannot police his personal life. But we can police the perception he creates when he's seen laughing with Osoro, who was on the front line saying that watapitisha finance bill tutake tusitake, who was on the front line saying, we will not do a damn thing. All of us that have died sini sawa. That was Osoro. He didn't care about us. So Kasmuel is wrong on that very basis, that he has let down the people he is supposed to speak for. So Pipita, let us get that one very correct. That is number one. Number two, I think your question is, should there be change now or change in 2027? Let me just say that if we find ourselves in a ballot where William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto is on the ballot, he has already beaten us at that game. Tuongea tu kweli. He has already beaten us at that game, because I think you have seen I don't know how verifiable it is. All of these IDs, it is the same ID, but it is different IDs, which is the same person, which is different people. And that is probably just one technique. And then there's the issue of the IEBC. He's probably just going to put his puppets in the IEBC. We will not have a damn thing to say about that. And then the courts, I do not want to name judges. Someone is just going to sit and say, actually, I agree. Watch Mzee Peter. If we find ourselves in the ballot with William Samoei Ruto, that game is over. And Pipita, I want you to think about, because we keep saying that we're living in a dictatorship, but I don't know whether you have looked up the elements of a dictatorship. How do you know that a country is a dictatorship? And I was reading about it today, and it was fascinating. Number one, that there's the issue of absolute power. You have seen Rigathi Gachagua asking William Ruto for forgiveness, as if William Ruto is his husband, as if, this is personal relationship. I have wronged you. Forgive me kindly. Make this go away. Please forgive me. If that does not tell you about the absoluteness of the power wielded by William Samoei Ruto, I do not know what it is. What is? Number two, human rights abuses. I do not think I should be the one to tell you that more than 61 people died. I think that those numbers have been grossly altered. I think 61 is what was able to be verified by Amnesty International and IMLU and the Kenya Law Society and others. But I believe that those numbers are far greater than 61, Pipita. One party state, another element of dictatorship, one party state. We saw that the minute UDA, the alliance, came into power, they started absorbing other parties within parliament. We know that even the 12 independent members of parliament, 10 of them quote unquote swear allegiance or go under the directorship of UDA or what Kenya Kwanza wants. That is just it is not me telling you, the facts are there, you can look them up, Pipita. And I could go on, we could look at economic elements, we could look at military dictatorships. It is for the first time since the 1980s that the military has been deployed to the streets. If that does not tell you that this is, a de facto dictatorship, because there's a difference between a de facto and a de jure dictatorship. This is a de facto dictatorship. All the elements are there, they're glaring at us. So if we give William Ruto time to organize himself until 2027, we are never getting under his foot. So it has to be now. There's no option. Pepita, I would like to yield at this point. Thank you for the audience. Thank you for the mic.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Anjira, for that. I now get the perspective, and I know some of us are also getting to hear this for the first time about that Kasmuel's role as a spokesman. But yeah, it was a straight middle finger today, safe to speak, showing up at with Raila Odinga. But yeah, who appointed him? The other guy.
Hello, Pipita.
Jambo.
Sijambo, niko fiti. Sorry, I was having some issues with the internet. I'd like to comment, Wanjira. It's nice to know that ladies in this country are that active in politics. It's a good thing for us for whatever is happening in the country right now. So I'd like to touch on what she says, that if we are to face Ruto on the ballot in 2027, it will be a total loss for us. One is because at the moment we are not united. We have no absolute way forward, and that is something that we should at least have an idea of, 2 years before the elections. Now, this thing will be hard considering most of Kenyans fall in love easily with quick things. I think if, in my opinion and in my personal opinion, if anybody who has not been politically active gets in the ballot in the ballot paper of a presidential ticket in 2027, it will be just utter confusion. And personally, I don't think I'd vote anybody in who has not been in politics before. When 2027 comes, a person like a good example is Morara Kebaso, who many of us think should run for the presidency. We've had Kasmuel ametuonyesha hiyo kitu umeita middle finger. Alafu, these people have no track record, seriously. I think most people take advantage of situations, and it was evident from the get-go that kuna watu watakuwa opportunists in this thing. You see, I was on the street many of the times. I do not have political aspirations currently. I really believed in this thing. I believe we have to change as a country. And I also attended one of the funerals of one of the guys who was killed during the protests in Langata Cemetery, and most of the people who are in the street with that guy were not around. So I think it was and it's still very disturbing that people will take advantage of a situation that has led to the deaths of more than 60 of us to 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 forge their political path. I mean, people are doing their own things. People are not even interested in leadership before. People are completely doing, some were musicians like Kasmuel. People were not even involved in the day-to-day politics of the country. Some people are hanging with Ruto as late as a year before the demonstrations. You see, some people are on our side simply because they thought they'd have seats or appointments or jobs in the UDA government, and they failed to get them. And a good example of that is Margaret that she was promised a job and she did not get a job, and that's why she's mad at UDA. And that's understandable because that's the truth. You see, if it was me, I think I'd also be mad. But the point is, she's not the only one. Some people are in this thing because they are mad they did not get appointments for jobs. But this thing is and at least should be bigger than any one individual who's frustrated sababu hakupata kazi kwa serikali. People are haggling around Ruto 1 year before demonstrations, and then they realized our party kazi, and then they saw an opportunity and jumped into it. Some followed the script very easily, wakaanza from side ya celebrity status hadi wakakuja ku assume political positions. Some have even very weird senses of self-importance among us. Personally, when I attended the funeral of a guy called Kevin Mawasi, I decided to research on what could really change this country. And I asked different people, and they told me the only person who's been incorruptible in Kenyan politics is one Mother Karua. And I understand she's not as popular as many politicians, and that fact alone should be inspiring, because Kenya has always voted wrong since time immemorial. We've always gone the wrong side. So the fact that she's not popular among Kenyans, it's a good thing at the same time, because there are a few accusations here and there considering her character. But I think if we were to head to 2017, we should consider people who have a track record. Mtu tunaweza sema amekuwa kwa serikali for this long, hajawahi iba. There are people like that, but I'm not ready to risk my vote on somebody who I do not know. Hajakuwa kwa serikali, sijui akiingia hapo atafanya nini ama atafanya nini. I mean, somebody could be a good choice, but everybody is a risk right now, as we've seen with many of these people when wamekuja sahi. They may be good, but it's a 50-50, you know. So I think we should align on the lines of kina Martha Karua, kina Omtata, people who've been fighting this fight for long. People wenye they wanajulikana. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I may be right, I may be wrong. I've actually been looking for somebody mwenye anaweza nipatia a good reason why Martha Karua is not the president of this country. And I've not met anyone. Nobody has given me a concrete reason why Martha Karua should not be the president of this country. Why such a person of integrity, a person who's been in politics since the 1980s and has no graft cases whatsoever, is not the president of this country. You see? So it should be in the lines of that. If we are to even have a chance with Ruto in 2027, it should be on those lines of thinking. That's my submission, Peter. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that submission. The other guy, Mosi Chano, is saying, I agree with just the other guy. Many of us are only. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Let me read that comment. And I agree. Just the other guy. Many of us are only here because they lack proximity to power. Some are just Murkomen minus power. Hey, nasimu na leo mnaspiet kweli. Nani walikuwa ananiita? I didn't say. But I see we have.
It's me, Pepe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was saying before you go on, I think I have an answer to the other guy about the Karua issue. It's this one. During the 2007 negotiations, after now, everything had happened and they were trying to form the government. Martha Karua was in the Kibaki side, and there was Ruto and the others on the Raila side. Now it is said that one of the reasons why they were not able to agree before I think Kofi Annan put only the two of them in a room together is because there were hardliners in both camps who couldn't take compromises, and the biggest hardliner in Kibaki's camp was Martha Karua. It said that one of her biggest weaknesses is she's not able to work with people. Now he litokea from the Kofi Annan report. Like he said he had to chase everyone out of the room because those two, Ruto on Raila's side, Martha Karua on Kibaki side, are such hardliners, they weren't able to take compromises that could move the conversation forward. I voted for her in 2013, so I have followed her career. When she ran for president, I have followed her career. She doesn't make compromises, which makes it very hard to work with anyone. And politics in Kenya is about those alliances that you need. So sadly, we're in that situation. She has integrity, but she doesn't make compromises that would create a team she can work with. So that's my simple answer to that problem. I hope it answers your question.
Okay, that's good. The other guy, umekasirika bado?
Sijakasirika. Actually, I appreciate the answer, but you see, right now, what Kenya is grappling with is corruption. The only way we can change this country is doing away with corruption. She's the one non-corrupt person or incorruptible person I know personally, and that's on record. Now, concerning the 2007-2008 elections, if you say there are leaders who cannot make compromise, it depends. What was she compromising? Remember, she resigned from that cabinet some years into her job, because when the two coalitions moved in together, it changed into another corrupt government. She was in cabinet before 2002 to 2007, when Kenya was really dealing with corruption. But I think her roles were tied when corrupt people like Ruto joined the Kibaki government in 2007 after the elections. And some people, I think, as much as some of this could be true, some people have misconceptions about the whole story. Some people say that she could have been the cause of the 2007-2008 election, post-election violence. But now when you follow the whole story, and she has answered this countless times, and actually if you follow this, it's hard to believe she did this, because she was actually a nobody. She was just overseeing Kibaki's votes during that time. And what if she's just an headliner when it comes to corruption? You see? So that could be an advantage. That could be something good about her. Because if Ruto was a headliner during that time, and Martha Karua was also a headliner at the negotiations, what side do you think? What do you think were the motives behind her rejecting the whole thing? Is it maybe because she knew the country would move backwards? Because Ruto has always been a corrupt person, and the team that was coming in was also most of the people are corrupt on the other side. It's something to think about. Thank you for the answer, but it's not reason enough for her not to lead this country. It's not reason enough, honestly. If she can fight corruption by being a headliner on issues corruption, I think that's a good thing. What do you think?
Okay, I don't want to make it a podcast, so I'll move the mic around. From you, I'll go to Mimi Buki and Korir, who have not spoken to us. Mimi Buki, how are you? Mimi, are you there? Unmute your microphone and talk to me. Okay, Korir, habari yako?
Salama sana Pipi. Nashukuru.
Karibu. Talk to us.
Nashukuru kila msee. Me, I wanted to say a few things. I won't take long. Nilikuwa naosha mtoi hapa. I wanted to talk about hii mambo ya lack of I would call it focus. There's a lot to think about right now. There's a lot to really think about as a country. Ukiangalia side, tunaongelea Chief. Tukiangalia side ingine ya Dani. Tuangalia pande ingine a lot. Betrayals and whatnot. I feel like it's almost 100 days past tangu tufanye the June thing. And progress has inched forward. We speak about these things every day. It's a good thing. But we are yet to find a definitive path yenye tunaona kama tunachukua, and we are yet to even have a strategy. Whereas on the other side, Kipchirchir anajipanga kila siku. So my suggestion in this movement would be change is in the Kenyan history is woven with contribution from various generations. We need to decide what exactly as this generation, whether Gen Z, whether millennials, or a combination of both, what is going to be our contribution here? What are we going to do for this country? Because, and you can have a contrary opinion, we cannot be the generation that can change everything. So in the process, tunakuwa na lack of focus, because you want to touch on everything. Adani comes and we shout about it, and then something else inatokea, we drop it, we move. Something else comes, we drop that, we move. So we can decide exactly what we want to do for this country. If it is putting to shape the health sector, we stick with this shift thing. No matter what happens, we stick with it. Tumeikata, and we go. Wakileta vitu zingine, we just stick with shift, and we say this is where our mind is in this very instance until we finish this before we move to the next thing. If I want to say, naamini this thing on Gachagwa's impeachment, One last thing and then I move the mic over to other speakers because nafurahia kusikiliza kutoka kwenu is the history of skirmish between the president and the deputy is nothing new. We've seen this before. We are still going to see it even moving forward. To me, this is just history repeating itself. In ascending this level of friction, we've seen it even in the first presidency of our country, Kenyatta and Jaramogi. To Jaramogi, to Kenyatta, Jaramogi was a power-hungry politician. I don't know. I'll throw the question to the panel. Is it that over time we have very ambitious deputies, or is it over time that Kenyans tumekuwa na how do I put it, insecure president, so that in every instance, time and again, except maybe during Kibaki's era, we see the whole idea of the deputy and the president locking heads time and again. It's a thorn here. Even if we impeach Gachagua, this is not the end to this. Another president comes, another deputy comes, wanakosana. It's a roller coaster of things here and there. And at the end of it all, we the Kenyans ndo tunaumia pale chini. Because each one of them wants to showcase their power. I don't know. If someone wakati anaongea anaweza nijibu, I would want to know what's the end to this thing, because I don't think it's Gashagua's impeachment. Thank you, Pipit.
All right. Thank you, Korir. I see General China has raised his hand. I know he's about to answer that. General China.
Yes, if maybe if someone answers that is question, then there's a submission I have here, then I'll also enter on it as I continue with my submission. If someone can answer him kindly. I'm not actually on point of order to answer his question kindly.
Wanjira,
So
I don't know if Wanjira can answer that. Wanjira, because I've also heard that you're actively you're active in social justice spaces. So maybe you could answer that question.
Pipi, that's a good question. And there's many theories that it's a distraction. There's all of this. Truly, I feel that and this is just me guessing, I do not think that I cannot purport to say even the devil does not know the mind of a man. I cannot purport to say what the president is thinking or what the MPs are thinking, but I think truly there's an effort to devastate the office of the deputy president. I think truly there's an effort to devastate, quote unquote, Mrima. I cannot, because I can, even just from a person-to-person perspective, I am guessing. If a man has to go as far as begging another man for forgiveness in public like that, I think truly Gachagua feels threatened. I think truly he feels... I think that there is this is just me guessing. I think truly there is an effort, a concerted effort to remove him. I think that, and I think I saw Kabogo saying this, that there's already an earmarked candidate for the position of deputy president. And I think that they do mean to remove him. And someone said here that Ruto is schizophrenic. He's a little ish. I think truly he means it when he says he's removing it. I think whether there's public participation that will allow for Gachagua to be removed, whether the public agrees or not, I think if the president means to remove him, he will remove him. Whether it's a distraction or it just coincides with Adani being here, Shah being passed, and other things are happening while the removal of the deputy president is happening. Maybe it's just a coincidence of many things, or it is not a coincidence at all. He actually means to remove him. I think he will. And the way things are going, I believe that he will actually be impeached. Unfortunately, I will wait for tomorrow for the parliamentary hearings. The defense, he has put up a very robust team, I think, of over 20 lawyers. So I'll wait to see what happens. But if you ask me, in my opinion, I think he actually means to remove him. I think he means to embarrass him like that. And that's just how it is, in my opinion.
Asante for that. I see Justice for All is on the way back. Korir, I don't know if you've been answered.
Maybe not, but let's not make it about Gachagwa's impeachment. I think the revolution is bigger than him. It's bigger than all of us. So, mi nasema, let's find a purpose and what we can do as a generation in this very instance for this country and stick with it. Because if we want tukitaka kumeza ndovu mzima mzima, I don't think we can do it.
Justice for all. You have something?
I think I would agree with the submissions that have been made that this issue of the deputy presidency and all that, I think it's a combination of factors, but in the current dispensation, I strongly want to believe that it is more of fighting for something that is not in the public domain. I want to repeat what I said earlier, that this is more of a war on who is going to control especially power after 2027. And Ruto, knowing what he went through, Ruto and Uhuru knew that they had problems prior to 2017. But then, because of maybe differences in terms of their personality and the way they handle conflicts and challenges, they were able to go through the 5 years and come to the 2022. Ruto knows how threatened he was. And Uhuru knows, of course, it's part of this conversation, but knows how threatening it was to the extent that the deputy that he left in power was able to end up winning the presidency. And that same danger, if Ruto knows that if he continues with this guy, who is very ambitious, who is also, a strategist and probably an insider, as it were, it's going to be very difficult for him moving forward. So the sooner you do this so that you can manage the politics, the better it is. So for me, I think it's a case where the only focus that they had come 2022 was simply win the presidency, but not necessarily that they were going to work together. And then Ruto knows that time means a lot when it comes to this politics, and therefore getting rid of him now, it will be easier for him to manage the situation when he has three on trying to do this at the last minute. So I think it's more politics of how the future looks like, but also I would agree strongly with there was Corridor, somebody who has talked about, like, this is a distraction. Really, we are being diverted and of course distracted and deflected from what the real issues are, because there's really no reason, because all these things, the concept of timing is very key. Every single time, even if you had somebody that was dealing with a challenge, or whether it's a sickness, especially on the mental health part of it, the question you'll always ask your patients is like, why now? So the question here is that these issues, unless you tell me that they just came up a week to the motion. So the question is, why now? Why did it not happen when these issues came out, maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago? Or why can it not wait for at least 3-6 months more? So timing is something that we have to look at, that what exactly is it trying to achieve? Besides just impeaching the deputy president, what else is being, what other game is being played here? So I think it is a situation of obviously bad manners, but I think in the case of the Ruto and Gachagua, I feel is because they are incompatible. They're incompatible in terms of working together without pecking order and everything. I think it's a very tough pair to really lead the country. Do I think then the impeachment needs to happen for us to move forward? No, we knew this. They're not a good fit, but that's what they presented. That's what people voted for. What we're asking is for good governance. They either have to go, all of them, or we tukule ujeuri yetu mpaka 2027. There's really, we knew this thing was not good. But then what did we do? We just gave ourselves that. So I think we are. There's nothing good. There's really nothing positive for you and me, PP, in this impeachment thing. Nothing. This is not for you.
Mm-hmm. General.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for the chance one to more. But me, I just have a simple question. Like, the term general I use, it's always something that you need a disseminated information, like a full information. Like, I've had like 3 speakers who have spoken. One has said that if 2027, if we have a name that is different from the ones that he knows, he will not bother to vote. Just sincerely speaking, like, what are we standing for right now? That now we have taken our time here like it is 2 hours. What are we talking about? Are we talking about how to better the Kenyan politics with Ruto and Raila? Are we talking how to better Kenyan politics with Mudavadi and Wetangula? Because those are the common people that you will find in the ballot. So if we start to castigate ourselves and we say that if one of us, even if it is you, that revolution, revolution goes. Who knew that revolution in Burkina Faso will go with the Captain Ibrahim? No one knew Ibrahim. Ibrahim had, yes, they never went to the ballot, but at long last he came to be someone who came from nowhere. So if we don't have that belief, I think we have a long way to go. How how will it happen if we didn't have belief in?
Well, generally, we are losing you, generally. Talk to us if you can. General, umepotea. Na tunakuita generali bwana. Unaweza umerudi? Yeah, we had lost you for a minute, but talk to us.
Okay, so I'm just asking, like, if one of us, this is a movement we are fighting, all of us, and we are not fighting for who to be in this post, like who ndio akue hapa ama who akue hapa. That is not our mission here. Our mission is that there's common thing we are driving. We know the sickness, we know where the illness come from, and the illness are these people right now that are in power. So if one of us stands and say that if one of us, which I don't say it may be general, whether it will be Pipita, whether it will be Wanjira will be on the ballot, you declare yourself that you will not vote because people will not be much conversant with you. Like, how then, what are we fighting for them? Then what are we fighting? Are we in an entertainment club, or we are just in a beach enjoying or making stories? This is a very serious thing I'm telling you guys. This is a revolution. What we are doing here, the government of Kenya is against it 900%. So for you to know, for something that government is against, it is something that one way or the other can bring change. So me, I'm speaking to the people who believe in change. If you believe in change, you believe that the revolution, even Martin Luther King, when he was giving the speech of the mountaintop, he said that I have seen the promised land. I might not get there with you. During that time of revolution, Martin Luther King was the person who was living all the forms of activism. There were very many activists, but to avoid the confusion, the government where the activists are brought, they came into one shield, not probably a leadership, a common leadership, but they had one common tree, common figure, one place of command of power. That was Martin Luther King, and he told them that I have seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but you must know that you will get the promised land and you will get the good things. That's what that's something that came to replicate in very many years again when we found Obama coming to be the president of the United States according to his dream. So brothers, this dream we are fighting is not we are fighting like 2027 Kebaso is there. God is the person who gives life. We don't know who will reach there and who will not reach there. But we want it to be like this, even if for us we will not make it there, because it is not always an easy journey. Generals like us will be dropped maybe on the way, will be slashed and cut into mangoes. But there are people who will be in the safe side of the ship, and they will sail the remaining part of the population through the revelation, through the promised land. That is where we are fighting. The promised land is where we love this.
Again, we have lost you. We have lost you, General. Yeah, I think I've lost the General again. But yeah, make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Watch out to me time could use that. Make sure you subscribe to people.
The second thing, people have been saying that for us to be able to bring this cow down, the tick should stop eating the cow from outside. The tick should get inside. Let's say, we don't say leaders, but we say common people in the space here who are very vocal. If we take you in the government, let's say the conman now gives you different posts and you start working there. Are you very sure that we will drive this revolution? Let us just be honest. Let us not lie or talk about FBI movies that we watch or series. The reality is here that this government, if they take you in, you will have to play their game. If this government can take a revolutionary like someone like Raila Odinga who has fought for democracy in this nation and being injected inside the government, a very dirty government that no one should get into, set his foot into, and is there very quiet and cannot talk about anything. What about young population, the young us, people who are not financially empowered? This it always carries and it depends. But we cannot just say that we go there. If we go there, let's be honest, which change will come? So let us just be honest in some things. I'm just saying, revolution, this is one revolution. You are either there or we are not. You are not with us. That is why we are very bitter about our brother. There's no one who wants to see the fall of our brother because we believe at some particular point of what he was fighting for. But the problem just came within one day. We didn't have a problem. There's a day we saw him, yes, with a majority leader. We questioned him and he gave us an explanation. We were done. This is the reason why we were having a problem with our brother. And this one, wherever he is, he must be told that we are not against fighting him. He can continue with this course. He told us today that he has his followers, even our grandmothers are following him, which we don't have any problem. Those are our grandmothers, but this is us. So this thing is about us or them. If you are not with us, you are with them. The problem came at Bomas. It was very clear. When we are defending Meraro Kobasi, we are not defending that is our leader. We are defending it. He was one who was also on our side, standing and championing for the same ideologies we are talking about. Meraro Kobasi, when he was invited to the podium, I was there at Bomas. That is why I always wonder where this young man is bringing these stories of here and there. Meraro Kobasi came to Bomas. He sat in the normal place where normal Mwananchi, where other politicians always say like others are sitting. He was sitting in the normal places where normal citizens were sitting. When this young man came after Morara Kobasi had been violently attacked, beaten by chairs and escorted outside through the goodwill of good police officers who were there and some patriots, the Gen Zs who were there. So Meraro Kobasi came through this. That was the point there. He came through the normal one. He came as a normal Mwananchi. There's no one who could say that when Morara came, there was standing ovation or there was what. He just came as a normal Mwananchi who came to also give his opinion. It was a national day for giving opinion about the impeachment. So he came as a normal citizen. So when he tried to ask the mic, he was not given. He was labeled a betrayer. He was labeled as someone who came to cause chaos in the government process that was going on, in the nation's process that was going on. After being evicted, after those humiliations, he went. The brother came, the brother now we are talking about. Me, I don't have any issue with him. Me, I'm just telling him the truth. When he came, there was a gate. There was a gate where only dignitaries were using it. Those were the MPs. And there were only the MPs and the MCS who were using that route. Who were sitting? The MPs who were sitting there were Jalango, there was Elachi, there was Kajuang, and this guy called Aladwa was there. So we were just surprised. Our brothers just been evicted outside after being humiliated. Then you are the same. You are also in the same group. We are fighting the same cause. You have arrived. If you could have come to the normal ground where people are sitting and you grab the mic, the way with us you were requesting for the mic and we were never given, it could be, we could have understood. But he came through the VIP wing. And coming through the VIP wing, he was ushered in by those MPs. Those MPs, what were they championing for that day? They were championing for the removal of Gachagua. And our mission here has always been removal of all of them. We have always been saying RUTO, MUSTGO. That has been our policy. All the time. It is RUTO, MUSTGO. It is always like that. You can feel it the way you want it. It's very simple. And you come there and you start speaking the same language that these people wanted to hear. This is the language they wanted. They were entertaining each and every person that was saying that Gachagua must go. They were you were adulting to them. But because our brother here was beaten by chairs because he said RUT must go, he said Ruto must go. That is why all these things happen. And you came to the podium, not even on the ground where normal Mwananchi were. Like, what special thing were you holding that day? You are not an MP, you are not an MCA, you are not a governor. You got there and you went to dine with our instrumentals and you want to come to us after that meeting and you play fool like we were dealing with the fools. That one cannot happen. And we are labeling him and we will continue labeling as a betrayer, whichever cause he stands for. But for us now, he will not be speaking for us. Neither did we appoint him, but he was standing on the ideologies that we believe in. So no one appointed him, but what we believe in is he betrayed our ideologies. When he went there and started dining with the people we have always been fighting, that is where the hatred has come from. No one is bitter. If it is bitterness, there's nothing we share. I've never met him. I was going to all those Maandamanos we have never met. So it is just like that. But let us be realistic. Let us not be deviated. If anyone may always say about this case, like if you see anyone saying it is impossible, you are not part of us. Anyone saying it is impossible, this thing, it is us. We will make it impossible. It is through impossibilities that will come out through the one possible way. Because at long last there will be one possible way, either winning or losing. That is very evident, and it will happen like that. There are two ways. We will either lose or we will either win. And all these channels will be driven. We all start by Kasmuel, Morara cannot. Then we come in one common thing. Then we agree that if we join hands like this, then it is possible. That is where we go to root of possibility. So if you say it is impossible, may I think you are not with us. Me, I'm believing it is possible. Whether we will be here two people, whether I'll be the only person speaking here, speaking to myself in my own space, I believe it is possible. And I say directly because me, I'm a general. I don't like going left and right because I always want, as you give an opinion, give an alternative. There's a time when Uhuru Kenyatta used that terminology. As much as we criticize, let us have an alternative. If you tell me that this one is being used to dive our attention from this one, what should we do? If you give me that solution, I'll be a very happy person. You tell me that Adan is going and these people, you should be the first person. If you know, then tell us. Tell us, you people, you are concentrating on the impeachment. The airport is going. You will rush to the airport. That is how it is being done. But if you come and tell me like you are mocking me, like there's something I know that you know, or something I don't know and you know, that one we are not going anywhere. Give us an alternative. You have been concentrating on this, brothers. Stop this space for 2 minutes. I have this. The airport is going. What are we going to do? That's how people work. Brothers, you are quiet. NHIF is moving to SHIF and HSA. What are we doing? Are we which is the option? Which option are we going to use? Are we going there? Are we championing it through the spaces? Are we going to the demonstration? That is how things are work. If you can't give an alternative, then they always say that if you have a point that people can work on and you don't have an alternative, you better don't give it out, because something that doesn't have an alternative is just wastage of time. So as you criticize, give an alternative. But let us have one common goal. Me, I'll never be returned to where I came from. You have the space has changed my mind to make these people. I'm just seeing these people like animals. Like the way I'm afraid to go outside because I stay in the size of Ngong, so I always fear going outside because I can meet lions and leopards. This the same way I even fear meeting these people. I just see them as lions, as cheetahs, like those wild cats. There are people I don't want to meet. So no one can take me from that. I was a strong believer here of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. If I can tell you, I was a strong believer. That's where I got the name General. And where I worked with General Miguna, we were the team that formed the NRM. If people don't know, you must know, because we know what we are standing for. We stood when we knew that this is the person who could save this country. Little did we know that we were dealing with a traitor. When 2018, after his swearing in ceremony,
General, I also want you to land so I can hear Dr. Nimrod before we cross over to hear DP Gachagua.
Okay, I'll proceed from there. Let me give it a full stop, then we will proceed from there.
Hi, thank you for that, General. We have about 9 minutes before we hear from Rigathi Gachagua. Dr. Nimrod, habari yako?
Nzuri. MC, mambo?
Poa sana mzee, uko poa?
Nashukuru sana. Thank you for the space. Hello to my fellow comrades, patriots and Kenyans. Yangu ni simple. General amesummarize kila kitu. And I would prefer, Papita, wacha tusikize what is happening. But in general, my point is, when I come back, I'll say the same thing. We've been allowing these people to set the narrative, and that's a problem. You understand? But that has always been the problem. They have always been setting the agenda of what we discuss or what the discussion is going on. Yet we actually know what in the reality on the ground is. And that's why we've been failing as Kenyans, because we end up talking about individuals and narratives which are being created, like what is happening now with this Ruto and Gachagua, because none of them should even be there in the first place. I think it's time now we need to start setting the agenda ourselves out here as Gen Z, as Gen Zote. You know, we need to start just setting agendas of what the country needs to be discussing. We need to take the power off these politicians. And the only way we can take power off these politicians is stop giving them the attention that they keep on craving for. We need to be focusing on people who are standing for us. Story of what happened in Bomas and all that, that was expected. When I heard Morara saying he's going to go to Bomas, I knew exactly what was the script. But it is what it is. They exposed that has exposed ODM and what ODM has always stood for. Because to be honest, if I'm a member of ODM or I'm affiliated to ODM and still stand for free speech, liberty, good governance, or whatever it is, there's something which I'll never stand by. And that is something which has been being perpetuated by that chama. That being said, I don't want to discuss about the ODM. Papita, let's go to the conference and hear this, the idiots what they're coming to kind of, give us. And then we'll come back later and then we'll get along with it. With that said, thanks a lot for the time.
All right. Justice for all, do you have something to add?
Sorry, I was making lunch. No, my point is that I'll make it as simple as this. Don't let Gachagua and Ruto fight. Tuwafungie kwa room moja, they have to know how to deal with their own mess. This whole thing of us being treated into this theater when we know what it is, it's a distraction. So I know it might go into the point of this impeachment and happening and all that, or maybe we'll resign. I hope that's not the speech for tonight. But what I'm going to say is that let them not separate, because they are going to start now having to blame another person for the mess they have put us as a country. My prayer and hope is that as a nation, we will stand together. Whoever is going to be compromised, that's fine. Huyo hakuwa wetu, wachaende, then we move forward. There are those who are among us, but they will be the betrayers of Jesus. They were actually marked to do that from the beginning. So don't even be disappointed. Don't feel bad. Don't give up. Let's fight together until the end. Thank you, and I hope I will see you on the other side of the conversation. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that, Bwana Justice for All. We are so keen to know.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Wanjira, you said that you would like for both of them to go, yeah? But the current situation that is here is Ruto is still in power and he does not have any intention to relinquish it. And he's using his MPs to push out regarding. What will be your what we call it, your ideal outcome of this situation? Wanjira.
Yes, Pipi, just hold.
Hii ni connection, hii ni nini gani hii inaendelea hapa yenye tuna refresh TV kila saa ndo tuone kama tutaona huyu jamaa kibonga. Welcome to Home Run Pipi. I think Wanjira is not available for us right now. So before we cross over to the DP's residence to hear what he has to say. Minor is saying General has a problem connection here. We noted that. Dr. Nibia anasema Korir, it's a simple fact: corruption, nepotism, tribalism, selfishness, bad governance, and all that shit that would class us as a society and country as a banana republic. That is Kenya for you. End of. Yeah. So yeah, those are some of the sentiments that I'm getting on the comment section. AA was saying we need Okia Umtata, whose name has never been mentioned in any scandal. Martha can be given CS of Treasury and or Interior. Yeah, okay. Napenda sana broad-based government. Has she ever been found in graft? That is, Aguko Hannington was asking if Martha Karua has been found in graft. I hope Jamana resigned. It will make some good news.
Kufanya kikao na wanahabari nyumbani kwake katika mtaa wa Karen hapa Nairobi. Saa chache kabla ya hoja ya kumuondoa mamlakani kujadiliwa kwenye bunge la kitaifa hapo kesho. Kikao hiki kinafanyika wakati ambapo mipango ya kumuondoa mamlakani imechacha. Tutakuletea taarifa hiyo punde atakapo kuwa tayari.
Na sisi hapa pia kwenye Home Run tutahakikisha kwamba umeisikia. Ndio tuidiscuss. Unajua mimi naye napenda conversation. So we will discuss that as we get there. See, Rigathi Gachagua is going to be talking to us in the next 2-3 minutes. Of course, naona ameweka full regalia hapo hivi, so probably some very important information is coming out of there. Designer mambo.
Poa sana Pipi. Mko ready kuona deputy wenyu akiresign?
Reggae.
That is the only option. I just wanted to tell justice for all that it is the only option. Ukiona, I think Ken Majungu saw it, gave us all the options that it's either he resigns before the impeachment because he has political ambitions. Because if he is impeached, then those political ambitions will be siphoned out. He won't be able to run for any government office. So because he has political ambitions, it's either, there are two choices here. It's either he says, okay, fine, I am resigning, or something else. But if he allows the impeachment to happen tomorrow, my God, he will not have any political leverage anytime soon. Because the Dini will be according to whatever is going on. And then I heard that it's either Aki decide to resign, then he will be taken to court. Now this court play is what I'm waiting for, because the drama is very entertaining. That's me.
Aya, sawa. Wewe najua unataka drama. Crispinus Musumba is requesting to speak. Talk to us as you are edging closer to that historic moment.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Chris.
Okay, I'll speak in Kiswahili, please, kindly.
haina shida ndugu yangu.
Okay, mimi kwanza niko na shida na unajua sisi watu wote wenye tuko kwa tunasema tuko kwa movement. Shida moja government imeweka wale mablogo wenye wanajaribu kujifanya wanasema ukweli ili tu trust, alafu kitu yenye wanafanya wanajaribu kumock one of us, wanasema huyu hapana, huyo ni scam. Sasa kwa sababu msha build trust in them, ni easy kupend mtu yoyote kusema huyu hapana, kwa sababu they know you trust them. Angalia kama Oko ni ODM mall, na upcoming ya Morara imefanya watu ODM wapati chance. Sasa njia moja, kwa sababu mtu amemtrust, atafuta penti yoyote, kwa sababu ujue Morara kitu ya kwanza ana advisor. Ni rahisi sana yeye aflop kwa interview, na akiflop hiyo ndio advantage inakuja kwa advantage kwao. Wanasema unaona alisema hii, kwa sababu nyinyi wameona hamna direction, wamepata point ya kuchezea akili yenu. Mtu yote mwenye mtaraise, na unajua hata wacha mimi niseme, hata ikuwe ni huyo Morara wamemtumia ama wamemfanya nini, so long as mkiput trust in him, hata government watashindwa kumlipa, kwa sababu bei yake itakuwa juu, kwa sababu atakuwa na courage ya kujibelieve in himself. Hata jidoubt tena, atasema I worth pesa, yeye ataona ameshasikia head ako mbele. Sasa mtu asiwapatie unajua hao watu wote wenye mnaona ni bloggers kwa Twitter wako hapo ku divert attention yenu. Wameunda profile yao mwatrust for some point, alafu wakuje waambie unajua mtu fulani mkisha trust ni hivyo ku divert attention. Unajua mtu ukishamtrust ni rahisi ku divert attention yako. Sasa kitu moja, nyinyi wenyewe mjibelieve, kitu yenye mnaamini mjue ni kitu ya ukweli, mnaamini na iko hivyo. Don't care hata kwa ni scam. Ukisha put trust ni yeye. Hakuna pesa yenye government iko nayo inaweza lipa mtu nyinyi mnaamini. Ikikuwa ni movement iko legit na mtu ameaminika, hata kama umemlipa huwa anafika mahali anakataa bei, anasema bana muongezeni pesa, ama ni na pesa yenye unadai ni mingi. Obvious hakuna mtu atapata chance ya kulipa Morara. Sasa mimi kitu moja nitasema tu, watu mtu yote usijidoubt kwa kitu unaamini. Kama unaweza amini Mungu na hukumuona, why can't you believe on somebody that you see na unaona kuna actions zenye anafanya inalingana na vile unataka support? Mtu yote mwenye unaona kwa hii movement anakaa mtu unajua kitu moja, Kasmuel is so weak kwa sababu alifeel hiyo support iko inamtoka kwa sababu ya Morara. Akapata chance akona kabla fade off, wacha nipate chance nzuri ya kutoka kwa movement kama bado ningali na nguvu. Unajua angejipea chance aendelee kukaa kwa movement, ange fade off kabisa na angekuwa ana value yoyote kwa movement. That's why ilimpatia weakness ya yeye kujitoa kwa movement. Sasa kitu yenye iko, believe with people that we are working with or you are working on. Let's believe. Ukidoubt utadoubt kila mtu hii Kenya, kwa sababu wewe unidoubt mimi, unidoubt mwingine, na wewe mwenyewe pia unajidoubt. Tunasema basi tukupe, unasema hapana, ima na government mimi sitaki. Nani ndiye anataka? Huyo mwenye amejitokeza, simpe chance. Believe in him, trust in him, everything will work. Hata wazazi wenyu wataacha kukuwa na hizo doubt. So anything, mi kwanza mimi ningependa kuona downfall ya hii government ya Ruto, kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza, the guys there were so corrupt, they were ignorant, na walikuwa na arrogance of high level. Hata Gachagua akiresign, he has given another opportunity ya sisi kutakuwa hiyo ndio turbulence mzuri ya sisi kufanya politics, kwa sababu inaleta different shape of movement on the ground. Na pia government infringe Twitter na wale watu tunatrust, akina Gaidho, akina Boniface Mwangi, akina kwa sababu wameona youth are the weakest link, wako radarless, na alisema ukweli tuko formless. Hapo kwa payroll yake ni kazi yake inamlisha. Mbona haribia? Wewe jiulize, Oko siku gani ametaja jina ya Raila? Aoko tu atajifanya na story kama mbili za Raila, lakini in real sense wameona pia nguvu ya Raila kwa ground inaisha. Wameinstall Aoko ako huku ku divert attention, kina Alai wanashikia huku, Aoko anashikia huku. Sasa hii ni game inacheza katikati, mind zenyu zitalipuka kwa sababu hao watu wamewafanya kama mayai. Huku huyu jamaa mwenye ako UDA anashikia huku na bloggers wake anawalipa akina Bianca akina nani wacheze na akili, watuzungushe kwa sababu wana believe tuna trust hao watu. Kuna movement fulani na trust watu fulani, movement nyingine ina trust watu fulani, wacheze na sisi. Lakini hao watu wote wako kwa payroll, si ni blogger. Hakuna usisema wako kwa movement, hao ni blogger. Time yao ikifika ya bei watajitoa. Akina Nyakundi, time yao ikifika watajitoa. Wanataka wakuwe kwanza trusted kwa movement. Kama Osama tulimtrust siku ngapi? Lakini si alituonyesha kitu alitaka kutuonyesha. So those guys don't trust them. So long as wameshajiita blogger, wamesha descend from the community of the movement. They are not Gen Z. They are kumaanisha wako na hidden intention. Why blogging? They have their own intention. They know why and who to touch and who not to touch. So don't trust them.
Haya, designer, what do you have to say on that?
Well, a lot. I think I have to say a lot. It speaks so much. Crispin, let me ask you something. Where do you get your information from? And how is it shared? So are you saying that any information coming from someone that is replicated by another person is an information that you know very well came from ilitokea kwa mtu mmoja? Lakini sasa let's take for example what's her name? Aoko replicated the same information to her followers. Then it happens that we from Aoko, but your friend alisikia from another place. You want to tell me you won't believe it because it came from Aoko.
Unajua kwanza ukitaka hii game of society ni mpaka walete mtu mmoja akwe idol kwa movement yenu. Mkishamoshi hivyo ndio nyinyi mna follow.
Hapa ndo penye mimi na kukosoa kidogo. Wewe kama unajua kitu kaa hii, unaona, let's not deal with assumptions here because assumptions kill most of the time, unaona. You take the information, interpret it the way you want to interpret it. You get it.